Hey, folks, how's it going? We got here just in time to look at the new reveals of Final Fantasy from PAX East. So they're just getting started. They're introducing the panel. We should see cards here probably in the next 10 minutes, if I were guessing. It's early here on the West Coast. Like it's only 9, 10 after 9. So y'all are lucky I got on this Saturday morning. I think they're going to be asking everybody that. I have to say, though, when you get to do these panels, they're a lot of fun. You can't hear the panel? That's weird. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can fix that up for you. Because that should be coming through. It's weird that it's not. Let me double check something. See if I can make this work for you. Fortunately, they haven't gotten to the meat and potatoes yet. So we haven't really missed much. Let's see what we can do. Do. They're pretty much just talking about like background on development at this point. Do. Let me try this option and see what this does. But yeah, it's not coming through there. What if we hmm. Oh, you know what? I think I know what I can try. Let's do this. Let's try. Mm, 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 mm. That's not it. Here we go. Let's try this. Okay, can you hear it now? Let me see. Here, weird. Not sure why it's not coming through because it definitely is showing on my side that it's coming through. Wondering if. How about this? Let's try. What if we try this then? Oh, I see what the problem is. No, that should be hmm, weird. Let me try this. Weird. Yeah, because I hear you. It's definitely not coming through. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure what the issue is here, why the other stuff isn't coming through. Well, yeah, generally everybody just wants to talk about the cards anyway. Like that's not the problem. I'm just more sad that the audio isn't coming through from the panel itself. I mean, so far, except for showing the couple of cards they've shown, it's mostly just background. Firion, Wild Rose Warrior. Yeah, the artwork in this set's just going to be sick the whole time, honestly. If you're a fan of Final Fantasy, obviously the artwork's going to be super cool. Whenever another non-token equipment you control enters, create a token that's a copy of it, except it has this equipment's ability. Oh, this equip ability's cost is two less. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, if you play equipment, this card's pretty legit. Oh, there's two of these? Oh no, I see what they're doing. So that's SRAM, the old card. There's just an insert bonus sheet where the old cards get Final Fantasy style artwork. Because that says SRAM under the Therian Swordmaster. That's interesting. No, my desktop audio is all the way up. That's not the problem. I checked that first thing when I got on. Commune with beavers. That's cool. That's funny. The fact that this is such a thing in a game that people kept is hilarious. But it looks like all the other commune cards. Look at the top three cards of your library. But in this case, you get an artifact, creature, or land. That's cool though. But there are a lot of random decks that like having that type of card. So kind of makes sense. Nothing wrong with that card existing. I think they're going chronologically here. So they're showing a card inspired by each Final Fantasy before they do like the big string of reveals, I think. All right. So this crystal is 4 mana. Black spells cost one less, as if black decks needed any other help right now. If a non token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile it and you gain 2 life. Wow. Put target creature card exiled with it onto the battlefield tapped under your control with 2 additional +1/+1 counters on it. Wow, that's crazy. Good morning, Midnight Moon. How's it going? That's like Whip of Erebos with Leyline combined? Kind of, in a way. I could see why you made that connection. Just a town. Interesting. You play it, you just get 2 life. You know what's wild? It doesn't even come into play tapped. Granted, it only taps for colorless mana, but that's cool though. I'm not opposed to that. Like, it's untapped, but it only is colorless, so nothing wrong with that. Mm-mm-mm. Nintendo, happy Saturday to you. It's an early Saturday for me, but happy Saturday to you. Just talking about a lot of personal stuff. Is his connection to Final Fantasy and all that. So Cecil the Dark Knight. Oh, those are cool. It's cool that one side has Death Touch and the other has Lifelink. The Dark Knight into the Redeemed Paladin. Huh. You love a good paladin? Yeah, there should be a couple. I mean, I guess they're gonna be called knights, but there should be a couple in this set, I would think. Kane, traitorous dragon. 2/4 for 3. During your turn, it has flying. Whenever it deals damage to a player, that player gains control of it. If they do, you draw that many cards, create that many tapped treasure tokens, then lose that much life. Oh wow, that's weird. So you get a 2/4 flyer that if it deals damage, or actually just when it deals damage, it automatically goes to the opponent. And then you draw, at least before you pump it, 2 cards and make 2 treasure and lose 2 life. But now they have a 2/4. That's a weird card. Sounds like Final Fantasy fans will actually enjoy this just from a flavor standpoint. That's a weird card, though. I don't know how I'd use that right offhand. It's probably gonna end up being kind of busted, I bet, in the right deck. Yeah, they're just going over some background of the set here. Nothing crazy. I'm gonna mess with this and see if I can further figure out so y'all can hear some of their audio if you want to. Mm-mm. Nope, that doesn't do it. Do, 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 do. Let's see. They're just talking about how when you're making a set, you kind of have to look at all the key parts that you want from the game to absolutely be represented. Which that's just how you build the Universes Beyond set. I think the biggest thing when you do these types of sets is just deciding what has to not be included, right? Because you're going to include all the major characters and all the major beats, but there's always going to be something that a super fan is going to be mad, like, you left out this really cool thing, or there's this moment from this part of the game, or whatever. And like, it's easier when I'd imagine, like, we get to Spider-Man, there's going to be stuff that you're going to be able to put in the next set, or the following set, or the following set, or whatever. But I don't know if they're really going to do that with Final Fantasy because they're already including stuff from every game. So this might be like a one and done thing. Gilgamesh, Master at Arms. Well, yeah, you could take any one set and do a full Universes Beyond set of it, or any one game. So when this enters or attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put any number of equipment cards from among them onto the battlefield. I have alarms going off. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. When you do put one or more equipment onto the battlefield this way, you may attach one of them to a samurai you control. So we're getting samurai in a non-Kamigawa set. That's cool. So pay 6, look at your top X cards, get an equipment, enters the battlefield, put it onto something. That's pretty powerful for 6 mana. Weren't we supposed to have some type of reveal from Kenny Omega with this thing? I thought I saw that in the ads. Livewire says, I assume Final Fantasy 2, 3, 5, 11, and 15 are all basically getting skipped for card representation. No, we just had a thing that just showed Final Fantasy 5, didn't they? I think something from every Final Fantasy is going to be in here, if I were guessing. It may not have as many, there might not be as many things from 3 as from 7 or whatever, but I think they're going to try to touch on each of them, which is why I think it's a one and done license agreement. I don't think I don't know. I say it's super popular. So who knows? Affinity for birds. When it enters, each other bird you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. That's pretty cool. This will be somebody's commander, I'm sure. Oh, there's going to be chocobos in this set. That wasn't even a question. If you didn't have chocobos, that would have been crazy. Chocobo racing is one of the only things I did in Final Fantasy to any extent, trying to get a golden chocobo. Oh yeah, because we're going chronologically. They're about to reveal something from Final Fantasy 6. And 9 is slept on. Terra, Herald of Hope. 3 mana, 3/3 flyer, human wizard warrior. At the beginning of combat on your turn, mill 2 cards, and then it gains flying. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2. When you do, return target creature card with power 3 or less from a graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Oh, you know what? That's gonna fit really good in the Alesha decks that are already trying to like cycle stuff out of the graveyard. And you've got that Rot Curse Rakshasa. Like that could be really cool. Yeah, these new sagas for summons is an awesome way to do this. So you exile and enter a sorcery card from each graveyard, and then in chapter 2, 3, and 4, you add a red for each lore counter on the saga, and you can cast an instant sorcery card exiled with it. That's interesting. Don't know how strong that is, but it's kind of cool. Yeah, I think the Chocobo symbol is commander only. I mean, that art looks a little nudish on the right. uh, there's some guys that would be gooning over that for real. Like that's hmm. I'm not even sure I'm a fan of that art style to begin with, but that's questionable to have on a card, I will say. Esper Terra, though. What are we doing? That's an interesting card. Bad choice for Terra's character flavor. I don't know. I don't even remember that character, honestly. This though is really cool. Like getting the old original artists and stuff to do stuff for the set is really neat. I have to admit. And different art appeals to different people. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's bad or doesn't deserve to be on a magic card or anything. It's just not my jam, right? It's not the type of piece I would buy from an artist to hang up. But I respect it. It's cool though that they're doing the actual tribute throwback stuff, you know. Yeah, still a little surprised they put that artwork on a card. That's all I'm saying. It's a bit insane how much video game designs were probably inspired by his work. Yeah, probably. That was art when the game came out, but you had to be a fan to seek it and see it. It wasn't in the game, which was all pixel art. Oh, that's fair. Yeah. So it mills, and then you pay 6, exile it, return to battlefield, create a token that's a copy of target non-legendary enchantment you control, and it gains haste. That's cool. And then it gives you double Wooburg. Wow. That's pretty crazy. This is an interesting card. Used to have the strategy guide for Final Fantasy VI when you were a kid. That's cool. A bunch of us probably had strategy guides for various Final Fantasies. At the very least, you probably had like Nintendo Power that had all the secrets and where to go and find everything. Yeah, so that was just what Final Fantasy 7 they just talked about. So they'll show cards from still 7 more Final Fantasies, 8 more Final Fantasies. It's only 9:30, so they're probably going for about another 20 minutes, I'd imagine. That's wild looking artwork though. He does draw feet better than Rob Liefeld. If you know, you know. Kefka, Court Mage. When it enters or attacks, each player discards a card. Then you draw a card for each card type among cards discarded that way. You can pay H. Each opponent sacrifices a permanent of their choice, and then you transform this. It has flying. Whenever an opponent loses life during your turn, draw that many cards. That's a wild card. Surprise no clown type? Ah, fair. It's a cool card. I don't like 5 mana for a 4/5, but when it enters, they do still discard, so that's important. And you get to draw. So you're still getting something out of it, even if the card doesn't really live. So that's kind of cool. 5 mana, 4/5. Oh, wait, actually, you get to draw at least two because it's for each card. Well, I guess it depends on what you each discard. It's possible you discard a land, they discard a creature, and then you get to draw two cards. I guess they could also discard like a FOMO, and that's two creature types, and you get to draw two cards off of one. Happy Saturday, Dr. J. Okay, so we're going to play something called Summon the Numbers, he says. Kefil was an awesome villain. Spoilers for an ancient game. Takes over and ruins the world. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because they were even talking about how in that game you lose halfway through. Okay, so we're gonna do something with two teams here. We'll see what it is. Yeah, people like chaos. Wait, they're gonna have Michael Cole on here as well from AEW? Yeah. Adam Cole, baby. He does do a lot of gaming though. So we know he's a gamer. That's how you know there's not like we got the wrong nerds in the audience because the wrestling nerds would have that are also gamers would have definitely yelled a big bay for Adam Cole. Man, if I'd have known they were gonna have pro wrestlers though early on, I would have petitioned to be on this panel. Okay, so this must be Kenny Omega. I mean, to be fair, Kenny Omega has wrestling moves and finishing moves named for stuff in Final Fantasy and Street Fighter. He has like the one wing angel and the V trigger, stuff like that. Somebody from The Boys, which I've never watched. Everybody says it's good. I've never even seen one episode. Somebody does a voice acting for a lot of stuff, it sounds like. They also miss an opportunity. The wrestlers should have come out to their wrestling themes. That would have been sweet. Just weird though, because I was like, man, if you have wrestlers, it's all about their entrance theme. All right, let's see what this numbers mess is all about. So in Arena, this will be available June 10th, right? I believe that is the idea. It will be available everywhere. What are they doing? They're just leaving. Yeah, I don't think as much as they're goofing around, I don't think they realize they're on a time crunch. Oh, this is I think they're doing like a what was that called? Like the dating, not the dating game. WWF WCW set. Oh, if you can give me a WWE set, I'd be in. The amount of content I would make for that, y'all have no idea. I would lose my mind. Oh wait, maybe I think I know another way I could try volume stuff. Let's see if does this work or am I echoing in y'all's ear? If I'm echoing, I think I know how I can solve that part. No, it looks like things still aren't coming through. I don't know what that's about. I'll have to do some testing later. Pick up $1 million man. That'd be funny. Every wrestling organization has too many heels because for whatever reason, people like to cheer for heels, and it just messes things up. You have too many anti-heroes is the problem. Hornswoggle as loot is actually funny because you could do something involving treasures, which would be even hilarious. Okay, so it sounds like they're going to ask a question to the audience. I'll just repeat their question so y'all can hear it. And then some number of people in the audience will respond. And then the two guests on stage have to guess the number. I guess it's going to be a numeric answer. Yeah, it's really bugging me why y'all can't hear the audio though. I don't know what happened there. Oh, I love the graphics behind them. I just realized they have a Jason Chandra Chocobo on the screen behind them. That's funny. Okay, black mages have been a recurring element in Final Fantasy, but in Magic, how many black cards have mage on them? He's guessing 20. I don't know how many black cards have mage on them. He says 11. He says 30. Also convenient, he has an Adam Cole Bebe shirt on, which is awesome. I think that's low too. I think that's a low guess. Dude says he doesn't know. He just guessing 25. He says 16, and he says that very specifically, like he's thought about it. He says 45. It is the girl from The Boys. Ben Starr was a star of Final Fantasy 16, was his first role as well. That's what he was saying when he came out. Okay, she says 20 as her answer. Sorry, I got that covered up a little bit there. And Kenny says 45. I knew it had to be high. I thought 45 might have still been slightly low. Wait, so did they get a point because they didn't go over? Okay, so there's 16 Final Fantasies. How many Magic cards have combined power and toughness of 16? 27 and 15 are the guesses so far. 41. He says one. One's definitely not the answer. Dude's got a sweet cat sweater. 7. Okay. Apparently Waldo showed up. We found him. Yep. 22, he says. All right. I don't even have a clue what this answer is. It feels like it's like 30 or something, but even that's probably wrong. For 16, because we have, but there can't be that many because you'd have to have like a 10-6 or an 8-8. Yeah, 15's probably close. Yeah, it has to be a low number. What? Really? No. For 16? 85. That's crazy. I mean, I guess some 9 sevens. Man, I hadn't even thought about that. That's such a big number. Okay, so we're saying Magic's about to celebrate 32 years. How many years will Final Fantasy be celebrating at the end of this year? Okay, he's saying 28. It's got to be older than 28 because Magic didn't even come out till 93, and I'm pretty sure we're playing Final Fantasy before that. Played Final Fantasy before we played Magic. How are you guessing 16? Like people, come on. There you go. At least that's a real guess. 40 is closer to accurate. 39. All right. Nope, 34 ain't high enough. – 36. Not quite high enough. I mean, they have to pick one of the 3 that their team gave them. So, I mean, Kenny's got to go with 36 because the highest. But yeah, 40 on the other side's closer. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Omega's losing it. Right. So Team Chandra's won. Oh, they put the score up finally. All right. Team Chandra's winning 2-1. How many bird creatures have been printed in Magic the Gathering? No, there's a lot because even in Odyssey, Odyssey had a whole theme around birds. 69. Nice. Got to go higher though, I think. She says 155. They're trying to rush people now because I think they're realizing the time crunch. 123. Okay. 132. 170. Hey, new follower. Thanks. All right. 155. That might be closest to the right answer. Oh, she just went 55. Went 170. Exactly. I knew it was way bigger. I didn't think it was 400, but I thought it was like 250 or 300. You saying the guy closet, not the big one, but the older one, and kept me out of trouble. Hey, you know what? I've heard that from a lot of people, but awesome that we were able to help. Adam Cole's claiming they're going to have a comeback, and they're only playing first to 4 points. Well, yeah, I knew it was a lot of birds. Like I said, we have a couple of sets where birds are like a sub theme of creatures. So if that's the case, it had to be more than 40. How many cards that include white mana have been printed in Magic? Jeez, I don't even know the number. I mean, if you think there's 30,000 Magic cards or whatever, roughly like 1/6 of them, if you want to say that, are white cards. So it's got to be a big number. 2,512. So 25. It's higher than that. There's somebody 10,849. He's trying, right? Too high, but he's trying. 5,600 is a good guess. Forgetful Paladin. 26,000. There's no, that's almost all the cards in Magic, right? It's not that high. He said 10,850. 1,222 is too low. I mean, hell, we get like 2,000 new Magic cards a year now or something. That feels like a good guess. That feels way too high. Way too high. Maybe not. Yeah. Okay, 6,000. Okay. Because if you'd have said like 7 or 8, I would have believed it as well. But like 10 did feel high. How many cards in Magic have the word Buster or Sword in their card name? He's saying 105. 255. 115. That's probably closer to a better guess. Yeah, I think it's probably Sword or Buster. 348 feels too big. 350 also feels too high. Yeah, I'd be around 100 if I were to make a guess. Ooh, 750 is definitely not right. No, 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 no. Yeah, 255. I think I'm trying to figure out how many cards have Buster in the name. Dude, that's I don't hmm. I feel like I'd be way wrong on this one. Oh, I wouldn't have been wrong. 100 was gonna be my guess, so 72. All right, cool. Okay. Yeah, I knew 300 was too many. Oh, now they're just, like, rooting their teams on. Yeah, it's Kenny Omega and, Adam Cole. It's fun for people, though. It's kinda cool. Ooh. Final Fantasy VI has the record for the most main playable characters. What is that number? The guess is 15. He says 16. 23 is his number. 21 is the guess. I'm with y'all. I think it's somewhere like 13, 14, 15, something like that. He says 20. It's on Twitch. You know, there's somebody who knows in the audience that even knows the exact answer because they're like a big Final Fantasy VI fan. Where's Talia going? Oh, apparently there's a bunch of cheers. Enough people feel like they know that's the answer, I guess. Yeah, so there's enough people that sounded like they knew 14 was the answer. Oh, there's an anime. Oh, Chandra blew up Jace, I guess. Those have to be purchasable pets when the set comes out, right? For Arena. uh, he's gonna do it again. Oh, on Battle Pass, me that'd be cool. Yeah, oh, they're gonna show more cards. Oh gosh, this presentation like an hour and a half. They're tossing packs to the people. All right. Oh, they said 2 hours at the start. Oh gosh. Okay. All right. So they're bringing the Watsy folks back out. Oh, looks like we might be seeing some chocobos. Oh, what's this? Yep, there's some chocobo feats. Oh, these must be inserts. The golden chocobo. Yep. I knew there was going to be one. There was no way we weren't going to have a golden chocobo in this set. So that's cool. Look at the top card of your library at any time. You can play lands and cast birds from the top of your library. If a land or bird you control entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control, it triggers an additional time. Cool card. These are neat, and it's a playable card too. And there's 77 traveling chocobos, I guess. For only 77. That's gonna make that pretty pricey if you get one. What's the significance of 77 for the chocobo? I don't even remember that part being important, but that's a specific number. Yeah, original PlayStation, you had to have games on multi-disc a lot. There was a lot of RPGs that were giving a background on Cloud and blah blah blah. It says those will be pricey considering they're only found in collector boosters, which are ungodly expensive. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. You're talking about an expensive pack that a rare card that there's only 77 of. Yeah, they're going to be hugely expensive. I mean, people have paid a lot for the Lord of the Rings ones, the Soul Rings, that are in different quantities. So they definitely pay a lot for that. The gold chocobo first appeared in Final Fantasy VII, so that might be why it's 77. Maybe. I feel like there's something else I'm missing though, because like if it was just because it was in Final Fantasy VII, I guess you could just make it 7. We already did a 1 of 1. Might as well just have something that's 1 of 7. Actually, no, I get it. I get it. I just realized what it is. F is the 7th letter of the alphabet, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yeah, that's what it is. For FF, it's 77. I think that's why they did it. I haven't even looked even to see what the collector's boosters are up to. The MSRP was so insane, I haven't kept track of it. Yeah, the people they were selling crazy. They're already sold out everywhere practically. I mean, I imagine it's been 6 hundo on the low side if you want some now. Cloud Midgar Mercenary, 2 mana, 2/1 soldier mercenary human. When it enters, search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand. As long as Cloud is equipped, if an ability of Cloud or an equipment card triggers, the ability triggers an additional time. That's just a solid card. Like nothing crazy, but makes use of equipment. Does make equipment decks a little bit better. Yeah, I was just thinking you put the swords on this guy, and when those trigger twice, that's pretty big. Oh, there's the Buster Sword. 3 mana equipment, but what does it do? Oh, they're not even gonna tell us. It is saying it's a sword, it's an equipment, and it works with cloud, but they're gonna show us later in the week, I guess, or next week. That's a cool piece of art. That is a long piece of art. Oh, so it's a whole single piece that they chopped into different cards? That's cool. So they had 9 artists from Square Enix that contributed artwork, and they all got to pick the characters or pieces they wanted to do. It's like all the versions of Sephiroth in one long piece. That's cool. The Fabled Soldier. 3/4/3/3, human avatar soldier. When it enters or attacks, you can sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. So sacrifice decks are gonna like that. When another creature dies, target opponent loses 1, you gain 1. If this is the 4th time this ability has resolved, then you transform it into a 5/5. You get an emblem whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses life, you gain life. When it attacks, you can sacrifice any number of other creatures. If you do, draw that many cards. That's a crazy card. It's the only non-planeswalker to make an emblem, too. That's cool. Man, if you like playing the sacrifice decks, Rakdos or Black White, like this is gonna be a cool card to play. Aerith Gainsborough, 3 mana 2/2 lifelink, human cleric. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on it. When it dies, put X +1/+1 counters on each legendary creature you control, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on this card. All right, it's kind of cool. I mean, if you play life gain decks, it's another card that, like, when you gain life, gets counters. That's kind of cool. I don't know how much the second ability matter that much, unless you're playing maybe like Orzhov or something, where you can put counters on Ellis Ilkor. Tifa is a 2 mana 1/2. Whenever a land you control enters, double Tifa Lockhart's power and toughness till end of turn. Oh no, just power until end of turn. And then the martial artist is 4 mana for a 4/4 melee. So commander focus kind of card. Whenever one or more other creatures you control with power 7 or greater die, deal combat damage to a player, untap all the creatures you control. Oh yeah, we saw this card. They posted it online a couple days ago. 5 mana 4/4 with haste. When it enters, attach up to 1 target equipment card you control. Whenever Cloud attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. And then if Cloud is 7 or greater, create 2 treasure tokens. Commander only card though. It has the Chocobo symbol on it. But there's a lot of people that do play equipment decks and commanders. This would be a cool card for them. Okay, so now we're on to Final Fantasy VIII. Buster Sword gives +3 attack implied. I don't know, maybe. Yeah, it's interesting how much people attach to each of the individual Final Fantasies. Like, there's people that truly are like, no, this one's the greatest one. You know, like won't be hard to pull off enough flank fall triggers to one-shot opponents. Glad to remark. I mean, yeah, I mean, we sort of already have that with the Hydra or whatever, right? That gets the counter every turn, but it just keeps its power. Squall is a 4 mana 3/4 human knight mercenary. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. Oh, that's huge. Whenever this card deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is a good card. That's a really good card. Renoa Heartily. 5 for 4/4. When it enters, create a legendary 1/1 green white dog. And whenever this attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 till end of turn for each creature you control. Ooh, that could be cool for token decks. Ultimecia, Time Sorceress. 5/4/4/5. Whenever it enters or attacks, you surveil 2. At the beginning of your turn, you can pay 8, 4, 2, and 2, and exile 8 cards from your graveyard. If you do, you transform it. And then it becomes a 7/7 with Menace. When this creature transforms, take an extra turn after this one. Ugh. I literally hate extra turns in every single game I've ever played. Like, I don't think I've ever liked extra turns ever. Like, I didn't like it in any game. Like, even when we were working on Raw Deal, I didn't like it in that game when people were able to take an extra turn. I just hate that that exists in games. Hopefully, that doesn't become a card that's good enough for that to happen regularly. All right, now we're on to Final Fantasy 9. I do agree with you. Final Fantasy 9, I'm pretty sure was the one that had the most like throwback references. I find it interesting that they felt the need to a nerd audience that's already fans of Final Fantasy and Magic to have to preface the background of each set of Final Fantasy or each game. Which don't get me wrong, there's definitely going to be some Magic players that don't know about Final Fantasy and haven't played, but just getting random backstory the way they're doing it, there's really no context if you haven't played the games to even know who the characters are or why certain things they're telling you are important. Kuja is a 4 mana 3/4. At the beginning of your end step, create a tapped 0/1 black wizard creature token with whenever you cast a non creature spell, this token deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then, if you control 4 or more wizards, you transform it into a 4/6. If a wizard you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. That's cool. Zadale Tribal. Oh, it's a Ragavan. That's cool. 1 mana, 2/1, has dash. When it deals damage, make a treasure. That thing. That's cool. Vivi Ornitier. For 0 activation, add mana and any combination of red or blue where X is this card's power. Activate only during your turn and only once each turn. Oh, I do agree that there are people who've only played 1 or 2 Final Fantasies. That's totally fair. Alright, so when you cast a non-creature spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it deals damage to each opponent. And then Fire Magic is an instance, choose an additional cost. So for 0, it can deal 1, for 2, it can deal 2, and then you pay extra, and it deals extra. A lot of people like Final Fantasy X, it sounds like. Hydus, a commander. 3 mana, 3/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you can move a counter from target creature you control onto a second target creature you control. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control with counters on them deal combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate once each turn. That's cool. You've played a handful and only beaten like 1 or 2. I've actually never completed any of them. I've only completed maybe a handful, if that many, of any RPGs I've ever played. Yuna, Hope of Spira. 5 for 3/4. During your turn, Yuna and enchantment creatures you control have trample, lifelink, and ward 2. Wow. At the beginning of your end step, return up to 1 target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. This card's pretty strong too, if you're playing with enchantment creatures. Bahamut. So it's 9 mana for a 9/9. Destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. So you get to do that twice. You get to draw 2 cards. Excuse me. This creature deals damage equal to the total mana value of other permanents you control to each opponent. Wow, that's cool. It's 9 mana, but it does destroy stuff twice. Oh, so this is also a town that has an adventure. So you create it's a land that's an adventure. Create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token. put a +1/+1 counter on it for each land you control. Wow. And then it just taps for a green. That's a really good. Why would we not just play this card in general? That card's great. Like, it's a land that later on, when you don't need land, you're just like, pay 6, make this like 8/8 or whatever. And supposedly there's gonna be a one of those or some adventure land for each color in rare. Talking about Final Fantasy 11 now. Absolute Virtue. 8 mana, 8/8, can't be countered. Flying, you have protection from each of your opponents. You can't be dealt damage, enchanted, or targeted by anything controlled by your opponents. This card's dumb. Adventurelands will become a staple almost every form. Yeah, it makes sense. 3 mana, 2/1. When it enters, create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token. So for 3 mana, you get a 2/1 flyer and a 1/1 token. That's cool. Shentoto. 3 for an 0/4 dwarf wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets plus X plus 0 to end a turn where X is the amount of mana spent to cast the spell. If X is 4 or more, draw a card. That's cool. So Final Fantasy 12. That's a cool piece. 3 mana, 4/3. Wow, that's already good. Reach. Vehicles you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance and reach. Wow. And whenever a vehicle crewed by this card attacks this turn, they took it away. Oh, we got to give more backstory. Oh, that's cool. As a wall of omens. That's a beautiful piece of art, honestly. I had a crazy thought not long ago, especially because we got into talking about AI and things, but like Wizards of the Coast might be the largest owner of artwork of major companies at this point, which is crazy. Oh, oh, this is the artist. Yeah, we're just spoiled as Magic players with the quality of art we get, whether it's in world Magic or not. It's crazy how good the artwork is now. That's cool, man. Available June 13th. Talking about Final Fantasy 12 now being the like sci-fi-ish version of Final Fantasy to that point. 3 mana, 3/2. First strike, trample, lifelink. Wow. Whenever lightning deals combat damage to a player until your next turn, if a source would deal damage to that player or a permanent that player controls, it deals double that much damage instead. It's kind of a cool card. First strike, trample, lifelink on a 3/2 for 3. That's really good. Yeah, 13. You are correct. So they're 3 for a 2/3. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, draw a card and you lose a life. Only triggers once each turn. Then the other's a 4 mana 3/2. When it enters you mill 2, then return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. At the beginning of your first. Oh, well, that's why. I was like, what? Yeah, they turn into Ragnarok. That makes sense. Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Haste. When it dies, destroy target permanent and return target non-legendary permanent from your graveyard to your hand. That's cool. It's a powerful card, and I think they were both either commons or uncommons, so that's actually pretty sweet too. Oh, there's some 14 fans. Yeah, dude, let's just take these conversations elsewhere. Like, if you don't like Universes Beyond, it's kind of played out. We know people like it, some people don't. It sells a lot. It's not saving Magic. Magic was still making a lot of money. It's just helping Magic make more money, is all. I will be curious to see what this does for past Final Fantasy sales, right? Like, do they go up on Steam or wherever you get them, the old versions of the game now? If people get interested because they maybe skip some or they want to learn about some characters or whatever. Oh, they put the games on sale this weekend? Oh, then they knew what they were doing. Yeah, now the WotC folks are all talking about how much they played to get caught up or get refreshed on things. Hildebrand, 2 mana, 2/2 that does have an adventure to create a 2/2 black zombie creature. And creature tokens you control get +1/+1. When this dies, you can cast it from your graveyard as an adventure until the end of your next turn. Oh, so it's like a white version of the what's wherever the green one is, right? Y'shtola, Knights Blessed. This is commander only though. But you get to draw cards for your opponents lose life, basically. That's cool. I think they're getting pressed for time though, because their game went long, because they're kind of like hustling through stuff now. God, that's a beautiful piece. This really is a cool idea though, to pay tribute to the old original artists and stuff like that that are connected to the game, and just let their pieces also be in it. And it turns out some of them were already fans of Magic, which I didn't know. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, Hildy's like Mosswood Dread Knight. That was the name I couldn't think of. Instep, exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Then, if it's the first instep of the turn, there's an additional instep after this step. Interesting. Oh, finally a use for the what was it? Unstoppable plan that you can untap stuff during your instep. You get an extra untap now. 6 mana, 5/3. Destroy target creature an opponent controls. Gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Oh, and then you can draw 2 cards. Each player loses 2 life. Strong card, but they at least balance it to where it's pretty weak. It's only a 5/3. Summoner's Grimoire. 'Huh. Whenever this creature attacks, you can put a creature card from your hand on the battlefield. If that card is an enchantment card, it enters tapped and attacking. That's wild. Zodiac. 5/5 indestructible. When it enters, each player sacrifices half the non-guard creatures they control of their choice rounded down. Whenever a player sacrifices another creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Zodiac. Wow. That's cool. Emmett Selch of the third seat. Spells you cast from your graveyard cost 2 less. Whenever one or more opponents lose life, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it once a turn. Commander only card, but that's going to be pretty powerful in a lot of decks. Now they're on to 15. Yeah, they're under a time crunch because they're trying to move now. I've been on stage shows though. I get it. Like you just get pressed sometimes. This well-known prince shouting his name every chance he gets goes unnoticed on a road trip. Noctis. You may cast artifact spells from your graveyard by paying 3 life in addition to paying their other costs. If you cast a spell this way, that artifact enters with a finality counter on it. That's cool. Interesting because I don't really think of blue and black as being the artifact deck colors, but it is pretty awesome. Demons you control have menace, lifelink, and haste. Ugh, like we need that. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, exile up to one target creature from your graveyard. If you exile a card this way, create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 5/5 black demon. That's crazy. Expensive cost, but huge effect. Final Fantasy 16 now. Mono Black getting a lot of neat toys this set. Yeah, there's some stuff for sure. I think the issue you're gonna have is just there's so many playables. It's like what doesn't make the cut now, you know? That's always the balance. And then they're talking about like Clive and whatnot in 16. Yeah, that's the other thing too. They made this set over the course of 4 years, which kind of means that in development they had to rush to make stuff for 16 because 16 is only 2 years old, right? Jill, Shiva's dominant. 3 for a 2/2. When it enters, return up to one target non-land permanent to its owner. Not even creature. It returns a permanent. And then you exile and summon. Return a creature. Oh, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Tap all lands your opponent's control. Exile this, then return it. Wow, this card's going to be a nuisance. Oh, I guess because he did the voice for Clive, I'm assuming. Oh, that's funny. And it's a transform summon. No, it's not, it just transforms. It's not a summon. That's funny. Oh, people are excited about the artwork. 6 mana, 5/5. When it enters, you can discard your hand, then draw cards equal to your devotion to red, and you pay 6, then return to the battlefield transformed. It's a 9/9. It fights up to one target creature and then add mana. Has 3 or more lore counters on it, exile it. Okay, that's cool. Interesting card. I don't know what I'd do with it yet, but it's kind of cool. Need the Balatro reveal now. I actually think Balatro was one of the best games that come out in the last couple of years. Pre-releases, they're saying on June 6th. Oh, they're gonna have a Final Fantasy starter set. Probably smart with the crossover number of new people that are gonna pick up the game. Oh, that's weird. I've never actually even seen a Balatro trailer. I just saw it on like Game Awards list and people talking highly about it, and I just went and downloaded it and played it. There you go. There are all the dates. Yeah, I'll be at Vegas as well if y'all want to meet up, hang out, play cards, whatever. Yep. They're juicing up the bundles at least, so that's good. Oh, so they do have the Chocobos as pets on the Mastery Pass. You get a Moogle. Oh, and a new trailer. You knew the visuals on this were going to be cool. Oh yeah, the cactus. I forgot about that. Yeah, people are going to be excited about the character cards. I'm pretty sure. Pretty cool. Feels like it's running at like 0.25 speed faster or something than it's intended to. Oh, they're gonna take a lot of people's money, my friend. Yeah, there was at least 3 new cards that we hadn't seen in that trailer, so we'll talk about those in a video probably later today. Okay. They apparently have one more reveal or character. Yep, SIDS. Okay. He's gonna say a number for one side, and then the other side's gonna say Sid. Okay. 2, Sid. Oh, I guess they're gonna show one for each set? Okay, we'll have to do a video just to go over all these SIDs. And they're all blue-white. Interesting. And they're all uncommons, it looks like. Interesting. Alright. Alright, that's kinda cool. That's kinda cool. Oh, and do they all cost 4? 2 white, blue? That's funny too. I think it's just the same card. Yeah, I was looking at the same thing. I think it's the same card, just different art for each one. Cool. Yeah, it looks like they're all done. Uh, so does that change my opinion on the set? No, because I felt the same as I did going into it. Like I knew it was going to be popular. I knew people were going to be excited about it. They captured all the stuff that I expected to be in the set. You know, nothing real surprising. Cool. I will say this though. They did seem to do a very good job of fan service, right? And for as much as people don't like Universes Beyond, that don't like it, like I understand. But for the people that are fans, that is the one thing Wizards has done very well for every one of these crossover products, right? Like the flavor of the characters, the lore, the things you expect to see, the key items. It doesn't matter if it's Final Fantasy, if it's I don't know, Doctor Who or Fallout or whatever. Like they capture it every time. Like they haven't missed yet. And I think that's why they're gonna keep people excited and keep doing them. But yeah, Final Fantasy is gonna sell. Like, if anything, I think this did a good job of getting people that were slightly interested or on the fence more hyped, right? And I think that's what this was intended to do. It's not like it's gonna capture all these new faces because if you didn't care about Final Fantasy, you're still not gonna care about Final Fantasy. But if you did and you were kind of interested, especially at like PAX East, where some of those may not be actual Magic players, they're just video games fans, right? It gets those people interested because, like, oh, I can go get a card that's got Clive on it. Like, that's awesome. Or I could collect Chocobos or whatever, right? That's going to get some people amped up. So that's going to be pretty cool. That's going to be pretty cool. I think the set, it makes sense. I mean, on day one, it's already going to be the highest selling Magic set ever. So yeah, there's a reason, right? People are excited about it. They're already wanting to buy a bunch of it. I've talked to retailers. Some of them, as they're getting their allocations, are making their pre-orders available, and they're selling out before the end of the day of what they're expected to get. So it's wild, you know. Look, I'm not here to argue companies making money. Companies are going to make money. It doesn't matter if it's Wizards, doesn't matter if it's Square, doesn't matter if it's whatever. Like, name your company. They're all in it to make money. They've always been in it to make money. Like, that's never, like, people are acting like this is a new thing. It's literally always been this way. I get it if people don't like Universes Beyond. I'm not going to tell you to like it. I'm not saying you have to like it. It's just unfortunately going to be a way of life now because people buy them. Lord of the Rings was the best selling set ever. Final Fantasy is already going to eclipse that. You can't ask a company to not do a thing when they experiment with the thing and everybody eats it up. Like, there's just, it doesn't make sense, right? If I was still running my business and we did a thing that went well and we made 30% more money, but my regular customers are like, man, I didn't really like that thing. The options are, okay, when we don't do that thing, you need to spend more money or whatever on this other thing, or I have to keep doing the other thing because I can't not do it. I mean, it's literally just that simple. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the way it is. Yeah, I get not wanting it in standard, but here's the argument I made, and I said this back when Lord of the Rings came out, right? Like, you need to have it in standard, or it just doesn't make sense, right? Because you get stuck in two situations. You have to design every card to be competitive in modern or legacy or whatever, which then from a design standpoint makes it where you can't really put a lot of the simple designs for a lot of things in a set because not everything is that powerful. But if somebody comes into the game because they like Final Fantasy, Warhammer, whatever, and those cards aren't playable, then they just feel like they wasted their money. So standard was going to be an inevitability. And I said this, I think I said it on 2 or 3 streams over the last couple of years. Like, it was inevitable. It was going to happen. You know, like, that's just kind of how it is. Like, strictly from a business standpoint, it's the only decision that makes sense if you're going to Universes Beyond. It just doesn't. Not as negative about it now, but it's not like I can say, yeah, that's exactly it. Like, and here's the thing, and I feel this way about every single game, every single product, every single hobby. At some point, if it's just not for you, it's not for you anymore. And that's okay too. Like, everybody comes and goes. Hell, I used to disc golf all the time. I haven't been out on disc golf course in at least, hell, years at this point. I don't hate it. The sport changed, product changed, courses changed, rules changed, but like, it's still popular. It's more popular than probably it's ever been, you know? I prefer everything coming through standard like the old days. So if this part of the trade-off, I'm okay with that. I do like that too. I'd rather things be through standard instead of just be made for older formats. I do like that as the trade-off. It's a shame that Magic Storyline can't carry a set as much as Final Fantasy, but that's just IP. Here's the thing though, right? And don't get me wrong, like, I get the purist argument. I do. But Magic has tried to do its own thing and its own IP for, hell, we tried it for what, 27 years or something before we got into, actually, no, I guess it was about 25 years before we got into doing Universes Beyond stuff at all. In, I guess, 26 or 27 years till we started doing full sets. And it kind of has a peak, right? As much as we like it, it was always only going to be so good. And of course, no matter what they did about the characters or the writing or who they brought in to write stories, or people always complain about it, right? That's just the way it is. But once we're not doing that, all of a sudden everybody says, oh, well, I wish we would have had such and such, right? It's just like People complain that the 3 set blocks were too long and the smaller sets weren't that important and they weren't in standard as long as the first set and blah blah. Then we change it and everybody's like, "Oh, we should have blocks. Blocks were the greatest thing ever." It's like they weren't though. Same thing with our original IP for Magic or whatever. Like it's nice and it's cool to have and I appreciate it, but it's not great. It's like some movies I enjoy that aren't necessarily great with the best acting, but I enjoy them. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of how it is. That's literally just the situation. I wish Lord of the Rings was standard legal. I would have been more excited about it instead to just play standard. That's the other reason we were just talking about, right? Right? You can sell more cards to more people if they go through standard. And there's a lot of cards in Lord of the Rings that have never seen play. I don't even see some of them in some commander decks, right? Unless you're doing like specifically, I don't know, like a food deck or something, right? Like you could play those, but those are never going to be playable in, well, for sure not in modern, probably never in Pioneer. So it's just like at least half the set was just kind of like cool. You buy it if you're a fan. But think about that. Like even with it not being standard legal, that was still the best selling Magic set to date, right? Like, so you can't be like, oh, people don't like it, nobody wants to buy it, whatever. Like, even without the cards being playable in some formats and not being in standard at all, people still ate it up. So like it just is what it is. Spider-Man don't belong in Magic like SpongeBob. Just like I can live with Ginger. Like again, we'll see how it sails. Right? That's the proof's in the pudding. Like we may not like it, you may not like it. It doesn't matter. If it sells, it's here. If it doesn't sell, they won't do it again. The thing I talk about on our podcast is, because people complain about Bethesda and blah blah and all these other companies, EA with Madden or whatever. But you know what? We keep giving them the money. We keep buying $80 video game or $150 special edition things or whatever. If you're bitching while you're handing over $20 bills or $100 bills, they're not going to listen to you. They're just going to keep doing it. I tell people all the time, like, I can hear your words, but I'm going to listen to your actions, right? And companies are going to do the same thing. Right? We can complain all we want, but if the next thing you make is the best selling thing you've ever made, why are they not going to do it again? Right? Our feelings don't matter at that point. Like, let's be honest about it. Like, doesn't matter how I feel, doesn't matter how you feel. Like, taking feelings out of the equation, the bottom line is people want it and paid for it. Hell, paid a lot of money for it. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, like, that's just all there is to it. Yeah, but $80 video games you can play, but Wizards kind of force you to keep. No, they don't keep forcing you to buy anything. Like, I disagree entirely. What I think the future of Magic Dredging is, how much bigger than how do you get bigger than some of these people? Who knows? I don't know if you do get bigger than any of them. Because the only bigger things I don't even think you could sign deals for. It'd probably have to be like Nintendo or Pokemon crossover or something. And those have licensing deals elsewhere. So those probably don't happen. Yeah, it's exactly it. You buy singles, or you just don't play the formats where you need some of those cards, or whatever the case is. There's plenty of people who still play Magic that don't spend more than a couple $100 a year. I've met several. I see them at my local stores. There's some people that still buy every single thing because their budget allows them to do that. And year over year, Wizards acquires more people than they lose, and they make, well, according to their different, financial reports, 8, 9, 10, 15% more than they did the year before. So, I mean, just is what it is. And I'll be honest with you, there are a lot of people, and I don't say this. I want to be very clear. I'm not saying we shouldn't ever have Magic lore. I'm not saying if you're a Vorthos person that's into the lore that you're wrong. Not saying any of that. But what I am saying is that when I've visited multiple stores a year, multiple conventions a year, and I ask people questions about their favorite character or whatever, most don't know the story. It just doesn't matter. People want, like, even with Final Fantasy, if you just took all the images off the cards and just gave me names and abilities, and replace the artwork with something else, it's the same thing for a person like me. I just play cards. Do the cards do the things I want them to do? Do they make for fun, interesting commander decks? Can I do a sweet thing in standard with them? That's all I care about. I don't care what the IP is on. There hasn't been one yet that I've been like, oh, I got to go buy more because it's got my favorite TV show, movie, whatever on it. They're just more Magic cards. And there's a lot of people that feel that way. So when you give them more Magic cards, but they happen to also be a fan of the thing, then they just go hog wild for it. And that's just what we constantly are seeing. Mm-mm-mm-mm. It's not getting bigger. It is widening. This approach to D&D is how Hasbro widens their profit. I think that depends on how you view it, but it's definitely, I don't know. It is bringing in more people. I mean, at the end of the day, but it's what you got to do, right? Eventually, there's only so much room for growth or whatever at the things they were doing with Magic. And remember, don't forget with Magic, they had a contract with ESPN to show Pro Tour stuff. They sponsored WBE pay-per-views. Like they've tried a lot of random stuff with Magic that just didn't help it blow up over the years. I ain't gonna lie, I'll buy a Switch for an MTG Pokemon crossover. Exactly. But see, that's my point. And we've talked about this on my shows as well. It's like so many products are doing crossovers now, right? Hell, look at a game like Fortnite. It's basically all crossover. That's the appeal of it now, right? Like some of the biggest titles you say, hell, Dead by Daylight is crossing over every damn horror movie actor, whatever, right, into their product. And they're still relevant like 5 years later or whatever. That's just the nature of business these days. And it makes sense. Hell, Mortal Kombat's been doing it for hell over a decade, right? Like all so many games do it and it's profitable. Wizards, if to be argued, was probably late to the party on doing it. They didn't even want to cross over D&D and they own both licenses. They didn't even do that till 7 years ago. I'm concerned about power creep to sell sets. It'll be interesting to see what Final Fantasy. I don't know. I feel like we all power creep comes up a lot as a conversation in a lot of different products and a lot of different games. And some games just have good designers to balance things, and the games keep going. Other ones don't. Magic, arguably after 30 years, probably has the best of the best to figure it out. I have nostalgia for old school Magic as much as anyone, but it's easy to forget it came out 30 years ago. There's been two generation of kids in that time. Kids only know it as it currently is. That's absolutely true. That's the other thing we have to remember. Like I've been around since nearly the beginning of Magic, like year 2 or 3 of it. But people who started playing, let's say pandemic or slightly before, so 2019, 2020, they don't know the game to be any different. So this is totally normal for them and they're not going to feel any different about it. And the other reality is, and this is something nobody wants to talk about a lot of times, but the lifespan, we'll call it the half-life of a Magic player, really of a card gamer, but particularly a Magic player, is only about 7 years. So somewhere along 5 to 7 year point, your life changes enough that you may no longer play Magic regularly. You might still come back to it. You might still dabble. You might come back in 5 or 6 years, whatever. But your immediate thing is only 5 to 7 years. So at the 7 year mark, whatever happens after that probably isn't meant for you. And I can tell you from being at Wizards, they have a whole department that literally their job is just business insights. They are doing interviews, they're doing questionnaires, surveys, they're doing live test things, they're going to shows and checking things out and bringing back reports. They're doing all types of stuff to understand what will work, what sells, what doesn't. I mean, I can even tell you I was there when Vivian first came out. I'm one of the people who particularly said you needed Vivian without the cloak on her head. And there's other pieces of art that have never been made public, so I don't even know if I could talk about them. But when they showed me the different pieces, I particularly said, nope, you need to use this for these reasons. And other people said the same thing, and that's what they used. And we got beautiful artwork of Vivian, and she became kind of a main character, right? So they are doing the research, but some old players, things aren't going to be for you. I mean, 30 years is a long time, man. Like, and I get it. I've been around, like I said, since the early beginning. Not everything's gonna be for me, and I just gotta live with that. I was in an LCS recently chatting about something specific I liked about Magic and had to pause and realize that was 25 years ago. Yep, you were probably talking about something older than the people you were talking to. That's just the reality. Uh, Marvel versus Capcom is a dynasty based on crossover. Yeah, that absolutely, absolutely. It's all the fault of the pesky Commander players. You know what? I'm actually going to argue that it's not, and here's why. I think, if anything, it happened because of the competitive players, and I'm going to tell you why. Because at a retail level, the competitive players were often the store's worst customers. They wanted to only show up for events. They didn't do anything to support the store or whatever. They only showed up on events or event days for big stuff or to try to qualify for a pro tour or whatever. They only paid entry fees. They spent almost nothing else in the store. Hell, some of them would buy their sleeves and stuff online in bulk to save money or whatever. They didn't really do much to help build the community. And most players, the most common thing you would see online is people complaining that they couldn't go infinite by winning store credit that they could just roll into other things and never spend money in the store. So why would stores want to go out of their way for that audience when you could just host Commander stuff? But it's not even Commander. It could just be casual where they come in and just buy cards and buy snacks and drinks. And when a new set comes out, they're pre-ordering boxes, and you don't even have to assign staff to watch them because they're just playing casual games. You don't have to have a judge. They don't cause you to stay late for an event running overtime that you're not making any extra money on, by the way, but you're paying for staff to be there and for the electricity and the water and whatever. Like, I'd argue it had more to do with the competitive players than the Commander players. Legitly. Commander just kind of came about because it was just ended up being the most unifying casual format. That's the only real thing. But yeah, I don't think it's a Commander issue at all. I think because think about it, Wizards was competitive focused the whole time, right? All the Grand Prix, the Pro Tours, the PTQs, like everything was about show up, play this event, get this thing. You know, all the rewards were based around like Friday Night Magic and blah blah blah, and it just didn't work, right? Competitive players, and not even just Magic, for almost every game I can think of, competitive players are often the cheapest portion of your player base as far as what they want to spend in the system with the stores and boosters and whatever outside of particular singles they need and paying tournament entry fees. And I get it, right? If your goal is to grind to be at the top level, whatever the pro level is, well, that's where your resources are going to go. It's to food, to gas, to hotels if you've got to travel out of town, flights, whatever, right? Like that makes sense. But ultimately, that's not where your local game store is going to make their money. In every single game, and I'm trying to think of one that doesn't fit this rule, but I can't think of one unless it's an old game where the community is almost gone. The casual players make up greater than 90% of the player pool. So at the end of the day, you're better off marketing and working toward getting more of those casual players anyway, because that's where the money is. Right. I still remember when years ago when League of Legends announced they were going to do this $1 million tournament and blah, blah, blah. And people were gearing up to try to get into it, whatever. And I had to explain to people that like only like 100 people are going to qualify for this thing. So like you're not making any money there. You're not going to be part of it. You're not even going to see that. But people are the most hardcore 5%, 2%, whatever. They're putting in their time to be there. Everybody else is just playing casually with no shot of ever getting there. And they know that. You had Two-Headed Giant, Emperor, those formats away 4 months. Arguably more fun or not. I don't think everybody would agree to that. I also think you can't just randomly show up and play those formats, right? And there's balance issues and whatever. Like it's just way easier to show up with a deck and just play somebody. I went from Legacy to EDH so I could use all my old cards. They could mini cards. Yeah, totally. A lot of people did. The only problem Commander ever spawned was Hasbro decided to shift everything towards them, abandoned tournaments pro play. Again, those things did not get abandoned. They're still there. They still have the Pro Tour. You still have RCQ, you still have whatever. The reality is, it just made sense to not make that the focus anymore. It's not, it's what it is. I mean, I get it that people don't like it, but it's the reality. Even for as much as we see all these big tournaments online for CS:GO and whatever, League of Legends, and they get all this pomp and circumstance and blah blah, and there's this money. At the end of the day, the money's made from the casual players. It's not made from competitive players. It's just not. The competitive players aren't the ones on there buying the 15th, I don't know, Sivir skin or whatever that they've made, right? Like, that doesn't matter to them. They're making those for the casuals that are super fans of different characters that you can download the latest skin for $5, $10, whatever for your character. That's just what it is. The problem with pros, the number of people watching was low. That's why Watchy changed competitive play. It's not even that. It's just that people don't care. Period. Right? If you're not trying to be on the pro level, like they literally had what 3 years, 4 years where they were putting player cards in boosters so people could learn about people on the pro tour or whatever. People didn't care. Most of the people you get, hell, we see this in esports. They have PR people and whatever to handle stuff for a lot of the players because most people that are competitive at their thing don't have PR training, right? They're not fun personalities. And don't be wrong, we have a handful in Magic, right? You have like your Reed Dukes, your Seth Manfields, your LSVs. They get it. Their personalities, they do streaming, they do whatever, like great. But a lot of players are just good players, but they're boring in interviews. They're boring to watch on streams. Like they don't help build money, right? There's a reason in most games you see that the highest stream people that people watch aren't the pro players. Hell, even in Magic, folks go watch Amy the Amazonian or they watch CGB or whatever before they're going to watch some random pro player. That's not Hasbro's fault. That's not Watsy's fault. That's just the reality of things. Now, if somebody like CGB decided to be a competitive player, whatever, he'd probably have an audience and that would draw some, but he doesn't have to go through all that pressure. He can just enjoy the game and do what he wants to do, whatever, and still get views and get paid. Why would he try to be a pro player? Right? It just doesn't make sense. Hasbro really hurt the game, especially LGS locations, because I disagree with this. I don't think that was what did it all. I know that market way too well. There's still plenty of support for things. Hell, I would even argue that during the pandemic, Watsy literally printed millions of dollars worth of product and made it available to retail stores at no cost. They've done plenty to support LGSs, way more than almost any other card game company, honestly. Yeah, this is also the argument, right? What's the other alternative? We keep returning to another plane, return to Ravnica, do whatever. Like, I get it. I feel the same way, right? When people say that, I always ask them, what's the other option? Because we've tried all the other things, right? Like, that's just where you're at, whether we like it or not. I think Pro Cards was a good idea. Many people thought it was a good idea. Didn't matter. You know the number of collections I bought where those were just sitting in boxes? It's like the art cards in PAX now. Like when I buy collections, there's stacks of them that nobody cares. Nobody knows what to do with them. Followed Kai back in the day, yeah. And that's exactly it, right? When you have somebody who's super excelling, a Kai or a Finkel, or hell, to be honest, Finkel, one of the greatest brains in the game, wasn't necessarily the best interviewing personality at the time, you know? Mm-mm-mm. Here's the thing, though, right? When you're talking about basic level support like OG Arena League, Store Championships, whatever, the Store Championships thing still exists. Like, I went to one a couple months back. Like, those are things that are still happening. Like, the OG Arena League, sure, but that actually wasn't even that popular for this. And I went to a store where it was reasonably played, and it wasn't even that popular. Like, they're just spending a lot of resources on that return nothing, right? If you're going to spend it on things that encourage stuff, like extra buy a box promos, right? Or something. They buy a box, they get a card. Or if they show up to 3 booster drafts, they get this rare thing. Or hell, they're doing the ones right now. You just show up to a draft and you get a thing at a store. Like Wizards doesn't have to do that, but they did. And it encourages people to go to local store and get cool cards, right? That they wouldn't get otherwise. Uh do, 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 do. Looking at a lot of older cards that have cool art specific. The new cards seem to not have that anymore. Outlaws of Thunder Junk says basically people wearing hats. Yeah, that's fine. Like I get the feel on that. There's also a reality, even if it's not a hat set, like you have to have uniformity so you can market it. That was part of the issue with old Magic is nothing was uniform. While the artwork was cool, you can't really put together a style guide for your artists so they know what stuff's supposed to be, look like, whatever. Like you can't really make a cool campaign to put at a convention on banners and stuff if none of your stuff looks uniform, right? There's a reason every single product, every video game, whatever, has a certain style and a look for the product. It's a good business thing. I think this set's going to be hugely successful, and Universe and Beyond is going to start doing poorly from Spider. I disagree. I I think the set's going to be popular. I don't. I think Spider-Man will sell less because it's not Final Fantasy, but I think it's still going to sell. I think Spider-Man's still going to sell better than pretty much every non Final Fantasy set this year. And I know there's a lot of people that like Avatar. Avatar will sell decently, but I don't think it's going to beat Spider-Man. That being said, most of my commanders are universes beyond commander. Well, there you go, right? Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, that's fair. We can definitely disagree on it. Like, to each their own. But at the very least, I would challenge you to ask what other games are still doing more than Wizard of the Coast for retail stores. Especially, even more so, some that are doing more that have lasted more than 5 years, right? And I think you're going to have be challenged to find something to make a really strong argument for. Hey, Professor Colin. All right, cool. I think that covers everything. Good chats. Again, I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy fan, but I think I'm gonna enjoy it. It was fun, but I gotta go because there's a crazy bit of stuff I gotta go do with family, and we're gonna go see how it all works out. So I gotta go get cleaned up. But when I get back, which probably won't be back online till man at this rate, probably 5 or 6 o'clock, but Pacific time. But I'm probably gonna try to get some stuff recorded, and then we'll probably do some streams to do some deck building to help people out with some stuff, and maybe talk about Final Fantasy stuff because I'm sure people will want to talk about that for sure. But yeah, it was fun hanging out with y'all, but we're going to call this good. It's been 2.5 hours, so I got to go. Thanks for chatting, y'all. As always, good times. I love y'all. Don't forget to watch the videos over on YouTube. Support your boy. Really appreciate it.